hello everybody, welcome back. This is my 1-year review of the CVT rooftop tent. First of all, it's a little bit windy out here, so I apologize if there's some wind noise into the mic. So what I would like to do is give you an update after about a year of use of this tent and tell you all the things that I've noticed from the good, the bad, and just the overall usage. Now today's a little windy, as you can see, and you can see how it's holding up in the wind. Today's gusts are, I'd say, anywhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour. And as you can see, if it's staked down correctly as far as the guidelines go, it does do fairly well in the windy conditions. So now let's start from the beginning as we set up all the way to the end when we pack it back down. So initially when we set up, as you can see, there's the cover that I have to unzip around. Now for me, because of the location of this tent, which is a lower profile on my truck bed, I do have to kind of work in unzipping the part that's right behind my cab window. But aside from that, it's fairly simple. You just unzip all the way around, open the cover, undo the straps which hold the clamshell design together. Now when the straps are unbuckled, you can open it right up. So usually about just unfolding the tent and setting it up usually takes me between 1 to 2 minutes. Fairly quick. And I'd say once you get the hang of it, it becomes super easy, super fast. There are some times where we don't even use the rods to open up the awnings if the weather is really bad or anything like that. But for the most part, I do open it up just for the increased ventilation. Now, with this tent, I had 2 rain flies. One is as you can see, the Stargazer rain fly, which you could see into the sky with a clear window. And I also have another rain fly, which does not have that, but it is more weatherproof in terms of snow and rain, which I haven't used yet because I like the Stargazer design and allowing light in and also being able to look out into the sky. Now, as I mentioned in my initial review, the material of this tent is very strong and durable, so I really like that. I never felt like this tent was going to come apart or rip or just basically fail during any of our weather conditions where we camped. It felt very secure inside this tent. So in my initial review, I did talk about how there are some openings around inside the tent and outside, which were a concern to me about insects getting in. But for the most part, we haven't really noticed any kind of insect invasion inside the tent. Maybe there was one time where we had wasps get in. During that one time, we were just in a place where there was just so many around that area. But aside from that, we never really had any issues. If you follow my channel, you'll know on another trip, I did spray some permethrin around it to have it be protected against mosquitoes. Now, ever since I did spray that, there were 2 things I noticed. There were no leaks inside the fabric through the material of the tent. I know that was a concern that people had on that video, but we haven't noticed any leaks in the rain. And second, there were definitely no instances or issues of mosquitoes coming into the tent or near the tent for that matter during the summertime months. So we could have had mosquitoes around the campfire, anywhere else around the tent, but as you get closer to the tent, there were no mosquitoes around it, which was a really good thing. Also, over time, I didn't notice any bolts coming loose or becoming weak, or any spots around the tent which became loose or weak or malfunctioning or failing. It did work out pretty good. We had pretty good experiences with this tent in any kind of environment so far. Now, of course, with any type of car-mounted rooftop tent, or even a trailer for that matter, leveling can be an issue at times, but we've never really had any issues with that either. We could level out the truck by putting levels under the truck, under the tires. And the only time I noticed maybe there might be an issue is when I put the ladder down. The ladder, there's 2 points of contact, and only one point of contact may touch with the ground and the other was not. So what I had to do was just kind of move the car around and was able to have both points of contact touch the ground, and it was just fine. Now, because this is a bigger tent, this is a 3+ person tent, and it is on the bigger side, it does weigh a little bit more than your 2-person tent. Haven't noticed any major reduction in gas mileage as a result. And because of my low profile mount on the truck, also I believe that's what it helped as far as wind resistance goes when driving around. So there was no real detrimental effect on the vehicle's gas mileage with this tent mounted this way. Now inside the tent, the mattress that comes with it is 2.5 inches and still really comfortable. I never really noticed a time where I felt like I needed to put an extra air pad or any kind of additional support to make me be able to feel more comfortable sleeping throughout the night. It's definitely more comfortable than any other sleeping pad that we've used when we go out camping or backpacking, for sure. Never noticed any condensation issues inside the tent as well. despite any of the conditions, and I think that's because we were always able to keep the tent well ventilated. As far as the rods go for the awning, we never noticed any issues with those. Now the only thing I've noticed, which might be an annoyance throughout this year, is when I do have the rear window of this truck rolled down, when you're driving around, when you're going over bumps or anything, you can hear squeaking once in a while, and that's with the contact points from the bed rack and the rooftop tent. It's just, I think it's part of what happens with the rooftop tent, no matter what kind of rack you have. So that seems to be a common issue. But that is just one thing I noticed. So when we go on off-roading on bumpy roads or anything like that, I would just roll the windows up and I wouldn't hear it after that. Now, looking at the grommets over time, I was curious how it would turn out and hold up. And it turns out pretty good. I mean, it turned out really well. No issues of fraying or it deteriorating. It's still strong and in place. And it's really impressive. The construction of this tent is still impressive overall over time. After a year of use, I believe that there are still going to be many more years of use for this tent if properly maintained and taken care of. But with that said, I am actually going to be switching up my camp setup, and I am going to be saying bye-bye to this tent into a new tent that's coming up. In the next video coming after this, you will see what it is. You can take a guess. What do you think it is? Put it in the comment section down below. But that will be my new setup in a little bit, and I will explain in the next video why that will be the case. It's actually a pretty exciting announcement that I have as well, so stay tuned for that. But for the time being, I say this tent is a fantastic, amazing tent. I had a really good time with it, have a lot of good memories and adventures with this tent, and honestly it is going to be kind of hard to say goodbye to this tent, but I'm on to different things. And as I mentioned before, I will bring you all aboard. Stay tuned for that. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to subscribe because you're in for an interesting ride in the next coming months. Other questions regarding the tent, please feel free to put that in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. But for the time being, that is my 1 year review of this tent. I hope you found it useful, and thank you for coming along. So with that said, be safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.